What's good, cuz? Welcome back to the channel, and today we are talking NFL tiers list through 5 weeks in the season. Now, I do know we have Monday Night Football tonight between the Colts and the Ravens, but I want to get this video out to you all. So if you're excited for this video, do me a favor, hit the like button, hit that subscribe button if you're new. I would greatly appreciate it. Who are the Super Bowl contenders through 5 weeks in the season? Make your predictions in the comments down below, but without further ado, I hope you all enjoy the video, and let's get it.
Minika, watch me on Twitch, ooh, I'm streaming. I'm on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, red button beaming. Let's get that sub count, take over YouTube, ooh, we teaming. My content so hot, ooh, yeah, I'm steaming. Ooh, yeah, I'm steaming, red button beaming.
Ladies and gentlemen, today I'm going to be making an updated NFL tier list after week 5. Now, I know we still have one more game to go, the Ravens and the Colts tonight for Monday Night Football, but I don't think it's going to change these rankings that much, but I will definitely update them for next week. Let me know, would you want to see me make this tier list in the future on Tuesdays, or do you like it on Mondays right after the main slate on Sunday and Sunday Night Football? Let me know in the comments down below. If I do make another tier list next week for week 6, do you want to see it on Monday, or do you want to see it on Tuesday? But we're going to be ranking all the teams in the NFL. We have 6 categories that they can be ranked in. We have Super Bowl contenders, so that is the best of the best teams in the NFL. Then we have A, B, C, D, very, very standard. And then we have the number 1 pick bound. So the worst teams in the league are going to find themselves going for that number 1 pick. Who is going to get it this year? So it's very, very simple. Those are the rules. We're going to go in order from the teams you see at the bottom. So the first team we're going to talk about here is the Tennessee Titans. And I think I'm going to put the Tennessee Titans at C. I think they're a middle of the pack team. They're in a bad division. The AFC South is a bad division right now. It's either them or the NFC East for the worst division in football, in my opinion. The Colts, the Texans, and the Jaguars are not very good teams. The Colts are not bad, so the Titans or the Colts, I definitely see winning this division. As for the Texans, without Tyrod Taylor, their defense could play. They're coached up pretty well there in Houston. I think they'll actually have a good future when they find themselves a quarterback and get that offense on track. But right now, their offense is not good, and the Jags are just a mess right now. They can score, but they can't play defense. They put up points, but they just cannot win games. They still have no wins on the season. I think the Titans are a middle of the pack team, somewhere around that 15 range. Their offense is pretty good. Obviously, Derrick Henry, an absolute monster. Tannehill looks okay this season. AJ Brown still dealing with injury. Did play yesterday against the Jaguars. Didn't look great. Julio still on the sideline with that injury as well. So we'll have to see when they're back at full strength how good their offense is. But their offense is still pretty good. It's the defense that's the problem. They cannot really stop anybody. So I have the Titans there at C. Now, the Dolphins are one of the most disappointing teams this season, and I have them at D at this point in the year. Their defense was the reason they almost made the playoffs last year, and that was the reason they were supposed to make the playoffs this year. Their offense was going to be okay, but it was the defense and the special teams that was going to carry them into the playoffs, but they look bad. They got exposed by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers yesterday in that game. Antonio Brown, Mike Evans had a field day. Tom Brady threw for 5 touchdowns, over 400 yards. Xavier Howard, Byron Jones looked like they didn't even want to be on the field yesterday. The Dolphins defense, if they're struggling, their offense without Tua especially is just not going to get the job done. They struggle offensively. Even with Tua in the game, I don't expect them to put up too many points. Their defense has to step it up, or they're going to be a bad team in this league. I could even see them being in the number 1 pick bound section later on this year if their defense doesn't get it back into shape. Now we have the Cleveland Browns, and I'm going to put the Cleveland Browns at B. They easily can be an A team. Unfortunately, though, they lost to the Chargers yesterday, and probably the most exciting game of the year so far. That was an absolute thriller. Winner of that game was definitely going to be an A team, but the Browns right now, they run the ball really well. Baker Mayfield, though, not having his best season, but he looked good yesterday. Has to get things going with Odell Beckham Jr. They have to pass the ball a little better. Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb, absolute units on the ground. Their defense, though, got exposed yesterday by the Chargers, putting up 47 points against the Cleveland Browns defense. Now, I think that's just a blip here. I don't think that's going to be a sign of things to come. I think the Browns defense will get back into shape with their run game. Hopefully, Baker Mayfield can turn it around. I think the Browns can find themselves in the A tier sooner rather than later. I think them or the Baltimore Ravens probably going to win the AFC North. Next, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars. This one's an easy one. Number 1 pick bound. Still no wins on the season. Trevor Lawrence looks okay. The offense looks okay. James Robinson looking like last year's James Robinson. So they can run the ball a little bit. They have to pass a little bit more. Have to be a little bit more efficient here on offense. And the defense has to step up and stop some people. Right now, have them as one of the worst teams in the league. And speaking of bad defenses, the Detroit Lions are due for a win. Honestly, I don't think they should be 0-5. They should have beat the Ravens. They gave up another last-second field goal yesterday to the Minnesota Vikings to lose lose that game to drop to 0-5. They should have beat the Ravens and they should have beat the Vikings yesterday. They can easily be a 2-3 team. They've played pretty well offensively. Jared Goff has had his fair share of turnovers, but the defense played well yesterday, and Jared Goff played good enough to win that game, almost an unreal comeback. I think they could move up in the coming weeks, but right now, number 1 pick bound. And that brings me to the Minnesota Vikings, and I think they're high C tier, maybe low B tier. Kirk Cousins had a really good start to this season. They should have beat the Bengals in overtime, if not tied. Dalvin Cook, costly fumble at the end of the game. Heartbreaking loss to the Cardinals in week 2 on that missed field goal. They could be 3-2, maybe even 4-1 right now. The Minnesota Vikings are having a good season. Defense looks way better than they were last year. Kirk Cousins is efficient. Justin Jefferson looking really good. They got to get Dalvin Cook back. Hopefully he's healthy for next week, but I can see them moving into B tier. Right now, I probably have them at the top of the C tier, though, being 3-2. Then we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they're going to be our first A team here on the tier list. Obviously, Tom Brady's having a great start to the season. They are 4-1. They got manhandled by the Los Angeles Rams, but I could see them ending up at Super Bowl contenders in the coming weeks. Their defense, though, hasn't looked great the last few weeks. They barely beat the Patriots against the Dolphins, who couldn't move the ball at all against the Colts 2 weeks ago. They moved it decently against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the Bucs did force some turnovers, winded up being a blowout. But their defense, a little suspect. Obviously, the offense is looking really good with Brady, so I'll put them in the A tier for now. As for the San Francisco 49ers, I'm going to put them towards the end of C tier right now. I think they're worse than the Vikings and the Titans with Trey Lance at quarterback. Trey Lance just not ready to be the starting quarterback for the 49ers, in my opinion. The defense is great. They held Kyler Murray to 17 points yesterday, and he's my MVP right now, either him or Josh Allen. So the 49ers holding the Cardinals 17 points. They got to win that game. So the 49ers can be a B team, but without Jimmy Garoppolo, I'm going to have them here at C. Then we have the Atlanta Falcons. I'm going to put them high up in D tier. Being 2-3, Matt Ryan looks okay this season. They didn't have Calvin Ridley. Kyle Pitts had a coming out party. It's first really good game for the rookie tight end there. No Calvin Ridley. They should get him back after the bye. They're 2-3 though. They beat the Jets. We'll have to see what the Falcons can do. I think they've improved this year so far from what they were last year. Then we have the Baltimore Ravens, who I think are in B tier as well. Very, very curious who would win the Browns versus the Ravens game. We're going to see that very, very soon. I like Lamar Jackson. He's running the ball really well this year. He's actually throwing the ball a lot better than he did last year. He's putting the ball in Hollywood Brown deep, and Hollywood Brown's just dropping some passes. He did complete it against Denver last week. I want to see what they're going to do against the Colts tonight. The defense is playing very well despite the injuries. The Ravens had a lot of injuries coming into the season, and they're performing pretty well. We'll have to see, like I said, what they do against the Colts this week, but I do think the Browns are better than them right now, but we'll have to see when they go head to head. Then we have the Chicago Bears, who I think are C tier right now. The defense is good, and the offense looks okay with Justin Fields. They can run the ball a little bit. They got to get Allen Robinson going, but the defense showed up for the Bears yesterday. They pick up a nice win on the road against the Raiders in Las Vegas. Then we have the Cincinnati Bengals, and it's very close. Browns, Ravens, and Bengals. Who is your number 1 team right now in the AFC North? The Bengals almost beat the Packers yesterday, which means they can hang with those high-powered teams in the NFC. AFC doesn't matter. Joe Burrow, I thought he was injured for the season yesterday. He took a monstrous hit, I think, late in that game, but he got up. Jamar Chase, Rookie of the Year, no doubt about it in my mind right now. They're going off. I know people wanted to draft Penei Sewell for some offensive line, but Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow have had a connection this season, so I definitely don't think that was a bad pick by the Cincinnati Bengals. The offense is electric. The defense is pretty solid as well. They could have beat the Packers, like I said, but because of the field goal misses, they do drop to 3-2. I want to see what happens when the Browns, Ravens, Bengals play each other. They're very, very close. I'll put all 3 of them together in the B tier here. And now we have the Dallas Cowboys, who I'll put right behind the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, because the Buccaneers did beat them in week 1, but the Cowboys win 4 straight. They are looking very good. Throwing the ball, running the ball, defensively, Trayvon Diggs, Defensive Player of the Year right now. The Cowboys are showing out. Finally, they're living up to the expectations that they had coming into the season. Really like what the Cowboys are doing. They're going to be A and can move into Super Bowl contenders depending on what they do against some better competition. I think they have the Cardinals on their schedule. Not sure if they play the Rams, but I do think they do. So if they beat the Rams and the Cardinals, they're a Super Bowl contenders team, because I think those 2 teams are very, very good teams in the NFC. Then we have the Houston Texans, who I talked about a little bit earlier, with the AFC South, one of the worst offenses in the league, but the defense comes to play every single week. If Tyrod Taylor was playing right now, I would have them either in the C or D tier, but because he's not, I'm going to put them at the number 1 pick bound. As for the Indianapolis Colts, I'm going to put them probably as my best D team right now. Let's see what they do against the Baltimore Ravens tonight. If Carson Wentz could show out a little bit. Man is made of glass, though. Does he still have those 2 sprained ankles? We'll have to see. But if he has a healthy and good game against the Baltimore Ravens and can pick up a win, they will move into the C tier, because I have the Ravens at B. The Ravens would fall down and the Colts would move up to C. Very excited to see that game tonight. Monday Night Football, going to be a good one in Baltimore. Colts versus the Ravens. Then we have the Los Angeles Rams, and they're going to be my first Super Bowl contender team on the tier list. I'll probably have 4 Super Bowl contenders. not just gonna have two because it's too hard to just have two Super Bowl contenders, the number one team in each conference. I want to have a nice conversation because they're contenders, not who I think is going to be in the Super Bowl, definitely. And the Los Angeles Rams have looked good throughout the first 5 weeks of the season. Matthew Stafford, definitely an improvement from Jared Goff. The only thing is the defense doesn't look as good as it was in years past, so that's a little bit of a problem. But they did beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the reigning Super Bowl champs, but they got manhandled by the Arizona Cardinals, a team in their division, so they better get that defense figured out for Kyler Murray when they play them in Arizona, because that's going to be for the division. They better pick up a win in Arizona or they're going to find themselves in the wild card hunt. Then we have the Los Angeles Chargers, who I think might be my best A team in the league right now. Justin Herbert, is he the MVP? It's either him, Josh Allen, or Kyler Murray right now. They all look amazing. That offense is electric and the defense has playmakers on it. I know the Browns scored 42 points on them, but that Chargers defense does have playmakers that could take the ball away, and the offense is just electric. Like I said, Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler, man's got to get some more recognition. He is going off this season, and Justin Herbert, like I said, in the MVP race right now. This team is amazing. Now the time has come to rank the Kansas City Chiefs, and where are they going to fall after getting blown out by the Buffalo Bills? And I'm honestly going to put them at the back of B tier right now. The Kansas City Chiefs defense is atrocious. It is so bad. They cannot stop anybody. Patrick Mahomes could win a game on any given Sunday, but unfortunately, because of that defense, we can't trust them in games going forward unless they're an absolute favorite when they're playing an offense that cannot compete with the Kansas City Chiefs. If they're playing an offense like the Bengals, like the Chargers, like the Buccaneers, like the Cowboys, it's going to be very difficult for the defense to stop those teams. Even if the Chiefs put up like 30 points, they're going to have to put up 40, 50 to win games going forward. I have them at B. As for the New Orleans Saints, I'm going to put them in B tier as well, maybe behind the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, we'll have to edit these tiers probably towards the end of the tier list to put people at like the top of B tier, let's say. But for right now, I'm going to leave the Saints towards the end. They have a very good defense. Their offense is okay. They almost lost to the football team, got a very clutch Hail Mary at the end of the half to take the lead, and then the defense held it down from there. I think their offense is okay for the defense to win them some games, but I don't think their offense flashes enough. But we'll have to see when Michael Thomas comes back in a few weeks. Does he elevate that offense a little bit, and can they move into A tier? We will have to see. The Giants, without Daniel Jones and all of their injuries that they had, as a Giants fan, it stinks. No Barkley for the next few weeks, it looks like. Maybe no Galladay. We'll have to see what happens with Daniel Jones with the concussion. No Slayton, no Shepard. We're not looking too good there in New York right now for the Giants offense. So I'm going to put us at the end of D tier here. As for the Philadelphia Eagles, I'm going to put them towards the top of D tier here. Their defense played pretty well against the Carolina Panthers yesterday, but they can't run the ball there in Philadelphia. And Jalen Hurts looks okay this season. Doesn't look great. I thought they were going to get blown out by the Panthers yesterday. The defense caused a lot of turnovers from Sam Darnold on the Carolina Panthers offense, and the Eagles couldn't execute, couldn't score points for the long part of that game until the end when they came out of nowhere and got the win. So I will give them props for the win, but are they better than the Panthers? Not too sure. If they played them again with a healthy Christian McCaffrey, would they beat the Panthers? Not too sure, but I'll give them props for the win. I have the Eagles at the top of D tier here. Now the Steelers, I'm going to put them towards the end of C tier. I think they're the worst AFC North team right now. They did beat the Denver Broncos. It was basically defense versus defense. They did blow out the Broncos a little bit towards the end of that game, where I feel like the Broncos made it a little bit closer than it actually was. So I'll give props to the Steelers there. I just need to see Big Ben perform a little bit more on the offensive side of the ball for a few weeks rather than just 1 week, but I will give him props for that win. And that leads me to the Denver Broncos, who I'll put behind the Steelers because the Steelers just beat them. I'll put them in C tier though. Their defense is enough to put them in C tier. Teddy Bridgewater looks like he was a little bit of a fluke towards the beginning of the season when they faced those bad teams. He played a good defense yesterday in the Pittsburgh Steelers, got a little exposed. It was very tough for them throughout the most part of that game. They did come on towards the end of that game, like I said, made it a little bit closer, but the offense in Denver, not the best. They're going to have to lean on their defense a lot. The Green Bay Packers, I'm going to put them towards the, should I put them over the Cowboys, over the Bucks? You know what? Yeah, I'll put them right here. It's very, very close in the A tier. I think the Chargers are the best A tier team, but the Packers I'll put right behind the Los Angeles Chargers. Almost lost to the Bengals yesterday. If it wasn't for those missed field goals like I talked about earlier, that was a very good game though. The Packers offense is good. The Packers defense is good. I'm waiting for them to really blow out some great teams. Close game against the Bengals. I have them in A tier right now. They can move up the Super Bowl contenders in time though. As for the Carolina Panthers, another team I'm going to put at the end of C tier here. Only 2 spots up on the Philadelphia Eagles that did just beat them. But like I said, they didn't have a healthy Christian McCaffrey. With Christian McCaffrey probably coming back in week 6, I think they're better than the Philadelphia Eagles by a little bit, even coming off that loss against them at home. Then we have the Las Vegas Raiders. Were they a fluke to start this season? Should they belong at the end of C tier 2, or should they be in like the top of D tier here? They were 3-0 to start the season, but the thing is with the Raiders, when they start to lose one game, they always start off hot. It's starts to fall apart in Las Vegas and Oakland. No matter where they are, John Gruden gonna have to get his guys back into shape to bounce back, get some wins. I have them at the end of C tier. Then we have the Washington football team, but for some reason on this tier list I'm using, it is still the Redskins, but they are the Washington football team, and I'm gonna put them towards the end of C tier as well. Maybe we'll move them up or a little bit down. We get to the end of the tier list here. Taylor Heineke looks okay. The offense can definitely move the ball, score some points. Their defense, though, is just not what it was last year. They can't stop anybody. That's why they find themselves in C tier. I thought they would make a running for the division against the Cowboys, but I think the Cowboys are way better than the Washington football team right now. Then we have the Arizona Cardinals. In my opinion, best team in the league right now. It's either them or the Buffalo Bills, who we have up next, who will also be Super Bowl contenders. Kyler Murray, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert are the MVP candidates. The Cardinals offense is explosive. They can score on any given play. Kyler Murray is super difficult to get on the ground. They exposed the Los Angeles Rams defense a couple weeks ago. The 49ers defense, though, this week did do a good job with Kyler Murray. Like I said earlier, only held him to 17 points, but the Cardinals defense can show up when the offense isn't at its max potential that week and help them get that win in week 5 against the San Francisco 49ers. Then we have the Buffalo Bills, my number 2 team in the league right now, blew out the Kansas City Chiefs. They're electric offensively, and they're very, very good defensively as well. Now, the Seattle Seahawks, without Russell Wilson, I think they're a bottom C tier as well. I'll probably put them over the Washington football team, just barely. Geno Smith didn't look bad on Thursday Night Football, but again, the Rams were not game planning for Geno Smith in that game, so maybe that's why he was a little bit better than we expected, but we'll see what happens in Pittsburgh this week against a great defense that's game planning for Geno Smith. Then we have a New York Jets who've looked pretty good the last 2 weeks against the Falcons and against the Tennessee Titans, where they actually picked up the win against the Tennessee Titans, and I think the defense plays well enough to put them at the end of D tier. Not going to put them at number 1 pick bound, surprisingly. Let me know in the comments down below if you think I should. Then we have the New England Patriots, who I'll put at C tier for right now. Very good defense, just barely beat the Houston Texans, though, in week 5, so I'll have them at the end of C tier here. Solid enough offense to get some wins as long as they don't turn the ball over enough. Defense, like I said, very, very good. So now these are our tier lists for week 5 of the NFL season. We have the Cardinals, Bills, and Rams as Super Bowl contenders. I like the way that looks. I like the Chargers, my top 18, Packers right behind them, Buccaneers in front of the Cowboys. Then for B, I like the way it stands right now. I would go Browns, Ravens, Bengals, Chiefs, Saints, and then C tier, I like the Vikings at the top. 49ers with Garoppolo, like I said, I would move them up. Panthers are pretty good here. Maybe I would move them below the Raiders, but I like it for right now. Broncos defense will keep them where I have them right now. Steelers, if they get another win, they can move up here. Vikings can move up if they win a couple games. We'll see what the Titans can do. I like the Colts as my number 1 D team. Eagles at number 2. Falcons, Dolphins, Giants, Jets, and then we have the Jaguars, Lions, and the Texans. You know what I'll do? I'll move the Texans right here, and I will move the Lions right here. I think the Jaguars could be the worst team in the league at the moment. I think they're probably the worst team in the league, and there you have it. Those are our tiers for week 5. Okay, everyone, that's going to do it for my NFL tiers list through 5 weeks in the season. Like I said, still have the Ravens and the Colts game tonight. In the comments down below, let me know, did you agree or disagree with my tier list? If you did enjoy the video, though, do me a favor, hit the like button, hit that subscribe button if you're new. I would greatly appreciate it, and make sure to follow me at my social links, which are on the screen for you all right now, including my Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Twitch, stuff like that. But that's gonna do it for me today, everyone. I'll see you on the next video. Have a great rest of your day. Peace out.